Welcome, welcome, welcome to Well-Fed Wednesdays. I am one of your hosts. My name is Caroline Donnelly, and I was a former IRS employee. I left IRS in 2021. Kim, I'm actually going to throw it over to you for you to introduce yourself.
Great, thank you. My name is Kimberly Young, and I am a prior defense, counterintelligence, and security employee, and I left federal service in 2023.
Yeah. So, the very first thing that I want you all to do, because I know that you're probably coming from all of everywhere, is I just want you to just take a minute to just take a breath. Just breathe. Just breathe deeply. Just take a breath. Because I know that it has literally been a whirlwind of just running from here to there, um, a whirlwind of emotions, a whirlwind of a lot going on. And so, therefore, I think that it's important for us to be able to just take moments where we are just simply just taking a breath, because otherwise, I think that what happens is that we're constantly in go, go, go mode, and we're not just breathing like we need to. So. We introduced ourselves already, and I want you to sit with this question, right? What was it that made you say yes to the invitation that you got to come to this session? Throw it in text chat. What was it that made you say yes to this invitation? We would love to hear your thoughts. What made you say yes?
Do you want us to put those in the chat or say,
Put it in text chat, raise your hand. Would love to hear it out loud if you have that thought.
all
So
right,
Caroline, if since you have the mic, would love to hear your thoughts. Talk to me. What made you say
uh, so I'm aware that I tend to bottle my emotions up and keep functioning.
yes?
And I thought taking every Wednesday to talk about things and be an emotional human being would be a good idea.
Oh, I love it so much. And I love the fact that you noticed that about yourself and then decided that you were going to do something about it. Anybody else? And like I said, throw it in text chat. Let's see, text chat or raise your hand. Need to take care of myself. Hope, I love it. Absolutely, you do need to take care of yourself. And so I'm glad that you're here. Right. I'm here to see what will help me and my friends navigate the riff. Yep, absolutely. Need a place where I can use um, I can use and any all yep, 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 yep. All my job is being threatened by the federal action. Yep. And I realize that there are many things outside of my control, and I want to take care of myself and focus on what I can control. Tina, I love it. And that's exactly why we are here. That's exactly why we are here. Yes, yes, yes. Sustainable habits, all of the things, all of the things. And so it sounds like we are kind of here for the same reasons. Kim and I really wanted to create a space where we as feds, former feds, etc., regardless of whether or not you are a previous fed and you're no longer with government for whatever reason, or you're kind of navigating the waters of what's been happening, I think that we all kind of feel this level of like solidarity with each other. And so we wanted to create a safe space for us to be able to have real conversations and talk about specific strategies that people can use in order to navigate these waters. None of what we will be saying will be magic wands. It won't be. But at the same token, I think that there's still some helpful things that we can share that will be at least instrumental in helping us to be able to navigate the waters well. And so thank you all for showing up and deciding to be here with us. So let's talk about what we're going to do over the next 7 weeks. We are going to be talking about feelings today, and you all know that. And as we navigate along, we're going to talk about grief and loss and learning in that process. We're going to talk about that next week. After that, we're going to talk about the stress cycle. So we recognize that we're under a lot of stress, and there is a way for us to be able to move through stress in healthy and productive ways in order to make sure that it doesn't stay inside of our bodies, right? And you'll see in a moment why it's important for it to not stay inside your body. And we're going to talk about how we specifically do that in week 3. Week 4, we're going to talk about shifting our focus. Again, I think it was Tina that made mention of the fact that, we need to figure out what's in our control and how do we navigate those things that are in our control and what on earth do we do about the things that are not in our control, right? So we're going to talk about that stuff in week 4. Week 5, we're going to talk about setting boundaries, right? Boundaries with ourselves, boundaries with others, all the boundaries, considering the space in order to make sure that we stay as healthy as we possibly can in the midst of a lot of stuff that's going on, right? So we need to be able to set some really healthy boundaries. Then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about, the federal work experience. How do we translate that into the private sector in a really effective way? And so that's one of the things that we're going to do in week 6. And then finally in week 7, we are going to talk about identity because for many of us, we are not doing the job or weren't doing the job for the paycheck. We were also doing it for the fact that it was a purpose, right? It was passion. It was something that we were doing because we felt like we were serving our country and doing a really good job. And that gets enmeshed with our identity. And we need to talk about what does it look like when work was your identity and the kind of pulling apart of that work from your identity. And so that's kind of where we're going in the next 7 weeks. So we're excited to be with you, honored to be with you on this journey. So where are we going today? We are going to accomplish 2 things by the time we are done. And so we are going to explore the feelings that come with change and loss and kind of unpack what those feelings might look like. And then we're going to talk about some actionable strategies for actually like regulating our emotions and dealing with those feelings in the moment so that we are doing justice to this desire that we have to honor and take care of ourselves. Okay, so those are the 2 things that we're going to be doing. So this is the first thing then that I want you to do. And I know that this is a loaded question. And so I want you to take out your phones. I know when in a webinar, lunch and learn, do we ever say, take out your phones? But this is that time. So I want you to take out your phones, throw on the camera, and then take a look at this QR code and open the QR code, you will see that there is a poll question that is going to show up. And that poll question is that exact question. How are you feeling? And you can type in here how you're feeling. And what this will create is it'll allow us to be able to see what all the different feelings are in the room. And if you have multiple feelings, you can type one and then hit send, type another one, hit send. You can do as many as you want to do, but that's one of the things that we are going to do. So again, hold your camera up, hit the actual yellow button that comes up in order for you to be able to get into the Slido, and then hit your response, and you'll begin to see different responses kind of show up. And the bigger the response, it means that the more people are actually feeling that same way. So I'm seeing overwhelmed as one of the big ones that's showing up. Lots of anger is showing up. Lots of people feeling super anxious. People are feeling scared. People are feeling sad, right? So that's kind of some of the things that are showing up in the room right now. But overwhelm seems like the biggest emotion that folks are dealing with. And so let's address that for a minute, right? I had a mentor one time, and I had a mentor one time that said to me, whenever you're feeling overwhelmed, it means that you need to break down what it is that you are overwhelmed by. You need to break it down into smaller pieces. And so that's one of the things that I want to challenge you with is that I want you to think about, okay, so what are the parts and pieces that need to be tackled as it relates to the things that I am overwhelmed by? And I recognize that that is, in some cases, making people probably feel a little bit anxious because it means that we're actually facing the things that perhaps we've been pushing in the back of our minds and saying, yeah, like I know that, but I don't quite want to deal with it right now. Instead, it's forcing you to write it down and say, this is what I'm feeling overwhelmed by, and let's break it into the parts and pieces that need to be addressed in order to navigate and deal with the overwhelm feeling. I love so many of the wonderful, amazing kind of things that are showing up in the chat. And so definitely make sure that you are taking a look at that. If you can't do it in Slido and you want your response still, throw it in text chat if it's not quite showing up in Slido. We would still love to be able to hear that. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, it means you need to break it down into the smaller pieces, and you need to sit down, write down all of the things, right, that need to be kind of worked through and navigated, and then take it little by little, just one thing at a time in order for you to be able to begin tackling it. I know it feels overwhelming, but please, please, please know that you have to get it out of your head, get it on paper, and so that then you can begin strategizing kind of based on that, as opposed to it swimming around in your head. That's that's harder for you to be able to manage and navigate. It just leads you to feeling more overwhelmed. So I am handing you a permission slip right now. Okay? I am giving you permission and telling you that it is absolutely okay for you to feel however you are feeling. There is no shame here. There is no guilt here. However you are feeling, it's okay. It's okay. So if you're not hearing that from anybody else, if everybody else in your sphere of influence wants you to stuff it down, bottle it up, don't say that, you can't do that, that kind of thing, like kind of like just keep a lid on it and don't, stuff it, as opposed to feeling what you're feeling. I am telling you, it is okay to feel how you are feeling. It's okay. It's okay. So I'm handing you that permission slip for you to be able to do that. And the reason why I'm handing you that permission slip, right, is that our emotions are our body's way of giving us information, right? And telling us what we need, right? And so, say for example, if things get super overwhelming and we are angry to the point, and this is me talking about myself. Sometimes I get angry to the point where I cry, right? It's my body telling me that what I'm feeling feels so overwhelming that it just simply needs to be released. And the way that my body is releasing it is it's releasing it through tears, right? There's probably more releasing that needs to happen, but it's saying something needs to be let go of in this moment. And so this is the only way that I'm able to let this go, is to be able to release it in this way. So look at your emotions as simply information. They're not something to be scared of. They're not something to be ashamed of. It's just information. It's telling you that right now we're in a pretty chaotic time. Right now, things are uncertain, right? Um, and so therefore, don't allow yourself to feel shame around simply feeling what you feel and knowing that it's simply giving you some information about where things are in this moment. I made mention of this when I talked about the stress cycle, which we'll deal with, I think, in week 3. But these are the risks associated with not dealing with our emotions. And I am actually going to stop talking and allow you to read this list. And I want you to notice which ones strike you and throw those in text chat. As you read down the list, which ones are striking you? Put it in text chat. Yep, the fatigue, heart disease. Yep, tension and pain. Yep, the anxiety. Yep, sleep. Yep, sleep disruption and the tension and pain. Making decisions, yeah. The isolation one. Digestive issues, anxiety, depression, sleeping. Yep, yep, disruption in sleep. Most of them. Okay. Yeah, yeah, the weird dreams. I hear you. Isolation, unhealthy coping. Yep, yep. Thank you, Sarah, for saying it out loud. Yes. Yep. Yes, that's a really good one, actually, Michelle. The demoralization. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Difficulty regulating emotions. Yep. So I wanted to bring this to the table because of the fact that when I worked at IRS, I worked with revenue agents, and they were always I was the head of coaching at the time, and whenever I would come over to do coaching kinds of things, they'd be like, "Oh, that's cute," the soft skill coaching things. Oh, it's so cute. Um, and at some point I needed to be able to bring home the why this is important and why this should be important to you and to people who might not feel like emotions are things that we don't really need to deal with emotions. We need to kind of like, if you could show me how to tie this up and make it go away, that'd be great. That's often one of the things that people say to me. But if we don't deal with our emotions, these things start popping up because to the point that I made before, it's our body trying to let go of something and release something that it's feeling. And so if you don't release it in a healthy way, these are the ways that your body begins to release what it's feeling, is that you begin to have all of these things. I was talking to a group of social workers in my work with burnout, and they kind of chuckled and said, "Huh, isn't that interesting that all of us have IBS? They have irritable bowel syndrome, right? And it's because of the fact that when the body's under a lot of stress, it's going to release it some way, somehow. And so, one of the things that we're going to be doing and talking about is talking through what do we do in order to be able to release this, in order for us to be able to release this. What questions do you have as you're looking at this list? Any questions, comments that you're having as you're looking at this list before we go on? Because I don't want to just rush through it. What's coming up?
Roland, I want to acknowledge we had a couple more responses: burnout, low self-compassion, difficulty making decisions, start moving on, next steps.
Oh, that's good. And let me speak to the low self-compassion one. And it's something that I kind of alluded to. So thank you, Kim, for bringing those up. I really appreciate it. With the low self-compassion one, have you heard yourself saying to yourself, you need to be done with this. You need to like what is wrong with you? You need to get over yourself, get your butt up, like all kinds of stuff. And I'm sure in some cases I might be using kinder language than the language that you might be using inside of your head to yourself. And I am telling you that what you need in this moment is to be kind to yourself. That's what you need. Being mean to yourself in this moment is not going to help. Instead, you need to be able to say, babe, this is tough. This is a hard one. I feel like my teeth got knocked out, but we're going to make it. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. We've experienced really hard times before, and somehow we figured it out. We're going to figure this one out too. That's how the self-talk needs to sound inside your head. So if you're hearing some critical, condemning voice, you know, kind of beating you down in this moment, you need to be able to speak back to that voice and say, nope, we're not doing that today. Mm-mm. What we're going to do is we need to be kind to ourselves because we need to get through this. Okay? All right. So I wanted to throw that in there. I should be able to handle it. You know what, Nicole? Thank you. Right? That's real talk. When we talk about the fact that that's kind of some of the voices that we're hearing is that kind of stuff. And sometimes we need to have the truth conversation and say, man, this is tough. I, yeah, I should be able to handle it, but right now this is hard. And yeah, I'll figure it out. But I need to acknowledge the fact that this is hard. And it's okay. Okay? So thank you for saying that. I appreciate you. Let's keep moving. We talked about the self-compassion piece, but I just want to go a little bit deeper, right? Give yourself the grace for the ups and downs of this journey that you were on, right? So there will be days where it's springtime outside and you're like, oh, I'm just glad that the sun is out and that just feels really good and amazing. Give yourself the opportunity to feel the joy in that moment. It's okay, right? It's okay to feel that joy. Um, and it's also okay to be able to know and recognize that, yes, there will be really tough days for which getting out of bed is like the hardest thing that you ever did, where you are struggling to navigate, the things that are happening with your kids or your elderly parents or all of the things and still getting to work, because you have to be in the office, right? Or any number of things, right? So the message that I want you to hear is in those moments of joy, enjoy the joy. Don't push it aside and make it seem like I shouldn't feel this way in this moment. No, you're going to need that joy, right? So when it comes, you savor it, you eat it up because you're going to need that joy, as well as you're going to need the gratitude of being able to say, well, I got up this morning and all of the parts, they still work. That's good. That's good. I was able to take care of this or do that. That's good, right? As well as some of the other things that will occur. So it's going to be a balancing act, but you need to give yourself permission to be able to have both and to be able to acknowledge and lean into both. And so that's one of the things that I want you to kind of acknowledge in addition to the pep talk that you're going to have with yourself, sometimes on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, you're going to need to have that pep talk, right? But regardless, you be the biggest cheerleader for yourself in this moment. right? If nobody else is cheering you on, you be that for yourself. Okay. All right. I'm moving on. So this is the poll question that we're going to do, and Kim is going to throw it up in the poll in a moment for us to take a look. What have you been doing in order for you to be able to cope? So there are different coping strategies. Would love to see your thoughts on this one. What have you been doing? And be honest, right? Be honest, because I would love to kind of see where we're at. See, these are coming in so far. Exercising and walking is like that's taking the cake. A lot of people are getting out there and exercising and walking. Okay. All
So we
right.
have a response in the chat too, Caroline. I chose one response, but doom scrolling and eating too much are real. We hear you.
Right. That is, thank you. Thank you for telling the truth because I am sure that if we actually saw what people were doing at home, we would see and know that you were not alone in doing that. So
I'm gonna
my
go ahead and end it. We're at about
oh,
67%.
awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that. So
And
my
let's see the
question,
results.
go ahead, Kim.
I was just sharing the results to see if anyone wanted to add anything else.
Beautiful. Thank you. I appreciate that. So it looks like exercising and walking has been the thing that the vast majority of folks have been kind of engaging in as a means of being able to deal and navigate with that. And I commend you. That's beautiful and awesome. And actually, Kim, one of the things that I would love for you to do, I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later, but I would love for you to talk a little bit about why exercising and walking in nature is particularly important.
Well, there's two different types of walking in nature. So there's the green space, and that would be just walking out and seeing the grass, the trees, the leaves when they come back to the trees here in the DC metro area, flowers, different things. But then there's also the blue space, and that is your rivers, your lakes, your ponds, your oceans. And they add this additional calming effect. So bringing walking and nature really gets you to a calmer state quicker. And so that doesn't mean walking with your phone, listening to a podcast, but really immersing yourself in nature, whether it's green nature or blue nature.
Beautiful, thank you. And one of the things that the research actually points to with the walking piece in particular is that something happens inside of our brain. If you notice, like if you are either looking down and seeing the sidewalk kind of pass underneath of your feet, or in your peripheral vision, you're seeing the trees or things kind of like moving past you, it becomes almost like a washing effect for your mind because it kind of is a reminder to your brain that things will come and they will pass and come and pass, and it kind of washes your brain because you notice that after you've been out for a little bit of a walk, and it might be like 10-15 minutes, doesn't have to be very much. You'll notice that somehow you begin to feel a little bit better. It is both the endorphins that your body is kind of releasing and feeling because of the physical activity. Yes, it's that, but it's also this kind of like thing that's happening inside of your brain. And that's one of the reasons why it's important, to Kim's point, that you're not engaged with your phone or you're talking to anyone or anything like that, that you're fully immersed in the experience of being outside so that you can get the benefits of all of those things. So seeing the exercising and walking followed by staying busy and working harder, I see that. And I think that the staying busy and working harder, I know that so many of us want to be able to kind of like lean into that. And the thing that I want to ask you, challenge you with is the staying busy because of the fact that you're avoiding how you're feeling? Or is the staying busy to keep up appearances? What is at the heart of your staying busy, right? What's at the heart of it? What's your why behind it? Because if it is to simply outrun your feelings, that will catch up with you because we can't outrun feelings. And so I just want you to just do a little self-examination with that one. Prayer, meditation, and breathing, all really good things. And it's important for us to, some people will kind of have these practices in the beginning of their day. And I would really encourage you to consider how you can incorporate these things throughout the day so that you're not just getting that hit of, of prayer and like breathing and meditation in the beginning of the day. And then by like 10 a.m., after you've had that ad hoc meeting for which your brain is like, what on earth just happened? You're back in the spin. Is it possible for you to incorporate a moment of prayer and meditation after the ad hoc meeting in order to be able to recenter yourself as much as possible, to be able to then tackle the next and the next and the next, right? And so let some of these practices be a continuation as opposed to something that just happens once. Focusing on faith, all good. The doom scrolling and over consuming the news. We are going to talk about that specifically in the session that we are going to do about boundary setting, right? So I hear you. And I know that you know that that's something that you need to navigate and manage, and we are going to give you some strategies on how to do that, right? So stay tuned on that one. And then focusing on faith and gratitude, all good, good stuff. And yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you to whoever it was who put down eating, drinking for comfort, because I think that you're probably not alone. I think other people are probably doing that, where it's just like, I just need this or that in order for me to be able to sleep at night or, to just take the edge off, however we want to say it, right? We have to also recognize that the reality is it actually doesn't take the edge off. Just like my post the other day on LinkedIn, where I said, you know what, at the bottom of that Ben and Jerry's ice cream, as good as it tasted going in, I recognize, right? I recognize that the problems, the challenges, they're still there after the pint is done. And so we can't eat our emotions. We have to actually face them. So this is how we face them. So this is the acronym NAME, right? So I want you to name your emotions, right? And so with NAME, I want you to first notice your emotions. Notice what's happening inside of your body, right? Because oftentimes we are going so much and doing so much, we're not noticing the fact that, holy cow, it feels like my heart is like skipping a beat or palpitating. I don't know what this is, like something's going on. Or, I'm sitting inside this meeting and my whole stomach is like tied up in knots, or my hands are sweaty, or whatever it is, we have to get back in tune with our bodies in order for our bodies to inform our brains that we are having an emotional reaction to whatever it is that is showing up in the room. And I know that you all know that you're having an emotional reaction, right? I'm sure that many of you all are like, you don't have to tell me I'm having an emotional reaction. I know that I'm having an emotional reaction, but I want you to notice what the body sensations are associated with that, because what that allows you to do is that it allows you to be able to tune in to the thoughts that are coming with the body sensations with the mood that is coming with the body sensations. So say, for example, the tie-in that I want you to make is whether or not the self-talk that's going with what you're feeling is moving you closer to a place of being able to um, get through this, or is it moving you to a place of kind of spinning in it? Right? And what I mean by that is this. Say, for example, I start feeling the knots start forming in my stomach because of what it is that I'm currently hearing that's coming at me, right? And inside my mind, the thoughts that start racing are, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? Oh my goodness, this is really bad. This is awful. This is terrible. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to, right? You can notice and hear it already that all that's doing is it's just spinning me up and making the emotions even worse, right? Imagine instead that I say, notice that I took a breath because I needed to, right? I made myself pause in the moment. And I took that breath and I'm like, whew, man, my stomach is just knotting up. This sucks, right? I'm acknowledging that it sucks. And, right? Notice the and, right? That doesn't sound good at all. But I'm gonna figure that out. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out, right? I breathe, I acknowledge what was happening, and and after the and is where I then interjected my capability, your capability to handle whatever it is that comes. This is not your first rodeo. It's not like your life has been some, peaches and creams and you've never experienced hardship. You have, and you've been able to get through it. Yes, it's not been pretty. It's not been amazing or wonderful. It's not been a Hallmark movie. None of that. It hasn't been. But you are still here, and somehow, some way, you were able to survive and figure it out. And you will figure this out too. Okay? So noticing, right? Notice. Moving on. The next thing is to be able to acknowledge and name. And that's kind of exactly what I just did, right? Name the specific emotion that you are feeling. And I'm going to give you a tool that's going to help you to get a little bit more granular with your naming, right? So instead of saying, I'm feeling stressed, right? Being able to get a little bit more granular with that stressed feeling and being able to say, no, actually, I'm feeling frustrated and overwhelmed. That is what the deal is. Because if you notice in the beginning, when we were able to talk about the overwhelmed feeling that people were feeling, we were able to then get some specific strategies, right? I was able to say to you, when you are feeling overwhelmed, it means you have too much information. You need it means that you need to break things down. There we go, right? Because you're overwhelmed. It's a lot, and you need to break it down, right? And so our ability to name specifically how we are feeling makes it easier for us to then figure out what the plan is for being able to tackle that. So I'm giving you a gift. This is called a feelings wheel, and Kim is going to drop it into the text chat. I'm also going to send it to you via email with the replay that's going to come tomorrow. And this feeling wheel is an opportunity for you, and I give you some instructions where I want you to kind of move from the inside kind of out. So say, for example, I say, I feel like I'm feeling really fearful, right? I want you to then look at that fear, kind of that beautiful purpley lavender space, and start looking at the other emotions that could be associated with fear, and then pick the one or ones that actually give you more granularity to that feeling that you're feeling, right? Because again, that allows you to be able to pinpoint how you're feeling and then be able to have some specific strategies. So you're getting the feelings wheel as a means of being able to navigate this a little bit better. I'm going to take a pause and stop. Any questions or things coming up before I move on? Okay.
Melissa shared that she's used this with her teens before.
Right. So
Excellent.
good. So, so good. This is such an important thing, and one of those things that I think, especially as adults, we don't we might not know really how we're feeling. So this is helpful. So I'm moving on. So from that place of being able to name how it is that we're feeling, we then have an opportunity of choice, right? We are able to be at choice in determining how it is that we are going to respond to how it is that we are feeling, how it is that we're going to respond to what it is that is happening to us, etc. Right? And our ability to be able to notice that we are at choice is super important, right? Because so often, especially in these times that we are living in, it literally feels like all of our choices are being stripped away. It's like all the control feels like it's being stripped away. These are the moments when you are in the driver's seat. You are at choice as to how it is that you're going to respond, whether or not you need to take a moment and do some deep breathing, whether or not you need to, after that meeting where we had an ad hoc, God only knows what just happened kind of meeting, right? You say, you know what, I need a few minutes. I'll be back. And you take a walk because you need that in order to be able to regulate yourself, right? And so, therefore, it allows us to choose how it is that we want to manage the emotions that come up. Last piece in name is for us to be able to express or release the emotions that we are feeling. Allow the emotions to move through our bodies so that they don't turn into heart disease, they don't turn into heart palpitations, etc., etc., etc. Right? And so the ways that we are able to move it out of our bodies are kickboxing. To this woman's credit. Do you see the abs on this woman? I was just like, that's what I want. And so kickboxing, journaling, um, being able to like release frustration, release anger, right? However, it is that we want to be able to, in a healthy way, release it out of our bodies. We know that we need to do that. We might need to just journal out, write out how we're feeling, what we're thinking, get it out on paper. And it might mean that you have to burn it in the end because nobody can see what it is that you're actually feeling. It's okay, but you need to get it out of your head, right? And so that's what I'm telling you to do with this one. So I want you to be able to name your emotions. Finally, in summary, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. Everybody's got a permission slip. It's okay, right? Extend grace to yourself. Be kind to yourself in these moments, right? Notice how you're feeling, acknowledge how you're feeling, name it, manage it by choosing how it is that you want to respond, and then express your emotions so that you can release them in a healthy way. I know that we have 1 minute for questions. And so this is the QR code for if you had friends that were not here that could have benefited from this. I want you to take a screen copy of this and send it to them, right? We want to touch and be able to impact as many people as possible with this message. So that's what we got for today. I would love, love, love to see you all next week.